Stars, cars, guitars. Coming up.
Well, I do find it quite therapeutic, actually.
So
I must admit.
I miss you when I don't see you if we have a week off.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
It's nice. It's nice. And also, I loved talking about being on the road and stuff and what it's like for the wives and kids back home. I thought that was a great thing to talk about as well. Really lovely.
This is Stars, Cars, Guitars with Tony Hadley, Jim Cregan, and Alex Dyke.
Ta-da! Hello, Jim Cregan.
Hello. What a lovely entry, Alex Dyke. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Hey, TH.
Hello, mate. How are you? Ta-da! It's very theatrical. It's getting very lovey, darling, round here, isn't it? You know.
It is a bit.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Tom. Hi, Matt. How are you? You all right? You guys all right?
Hello. All.
I just want to say I'm loving the Tone Pools vinyl, and I've done a couple of things in the last week since we last did this. I was with Jim last week. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I've pulled some vinyl. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Go on.
K-Tow's Goofy Greats. Look at that. Original stars, original hits, one fun album. It's got Yummy on it. It's got, what else? It's got The Surfing Bird on it. The Funky Gibbon. Simon Says. Snoopy versus the Red Baron. Does anybody remember this album?
Can I leave now, please? I was supposed to be a bona fide rock musician.
Is that the time?
Oh my God!
I love the way Alex introduced it. It was so digi. And I've got the Goofy Greats just here. And no, I have to say, Alex, I haven't got that record.
No,
but I have probably got
anywhere near me.
I've probably got the Pinky and Perky single from when I was about 3 in 1963. Do you remember Pinky and Perky?
Yeah, I remember.
I didn't know they made a record.
Oh yeah, they made a few. Tone, did you ever find any of your greatest hits on Ronco and K-Tal and Telstar? And had they been butchered? Did you ever get it home and think, wow, we're on an album with Duran Duran and Rod Stewart? And actually, the last 40 seconds have been chopped off the album because they couldn't fit them all on one side of vinyl.
No, they couldn't fit them on because sonically it just wouldn't work. No, we didn't. We had a clause in our contract that said that we wouldn't go on compilation albums. Now, whether that did us any good, whether we sold more original albums because of that, I don't know. I in hindsight, I don't necessarily think so. I think, once a record's been out, it's on a greatest hits album or a compilation album. It's a bit weird, really, especially as Span has had so many greatest hits albums. They really can't release any more. But no, we were never on those K-Tel Ronco things. And but I think for young kids who couldn't afford to buy the album, they love a certain artist, they couldn't find a buy the album. Those records were good. My Zara loves That's Now 100 and whatever it is these days, but she loves it because she's got all the contemporary artists on. She's got a Beyonce and a Zara Larson's and stuff, and so I think for young kids they're really valuable albums actually. That's interesting. What about you, Jim? You must have had a clause in your contract with Rod Stewart that you were never going to be on a K-Tel album.
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I know that one of the early bands I was in, Blossom Toes, which was a kind of psychedelic outfit that broke up before it kind of really reached its full potential. You'd see a magazine like Mojo or something like that, and it would include a CD, and tracks would be included on that as a kind of a giveaway. So God knows if there was even a halfpenny coming my way from that. So it's a bit odd, but I think let's have the music out there for the people. Really, I think that's my point of view. So there's an interesting story. Well, it's maybe interesting. You can tell me later. But there's a guy called Bob Leflitz who writes a letter, which is an industry letter about all sorts of various things about the music business. And one of the things that he talked about was when you're an artist on stage and you're telling people they can buy your merchandise, they can buy an album, whatever, especially for young artists. And I tried this with a young artist called Charlie Hole that I was producing. And we had an album out and he would sell it at gigs. And of course, the normal thing, you sell the album for 10 quid. Well, instead of, so he would say, at the end of his set, I've got if you like my songs, then you can pick over there at the merch desk. You can pick up some albums. And he said, so I said, well, try this thing that Bob Lefletz suggested. You just say, you can have the album for whatever it is you feel you can pay. I don't mind what you pay, whether it's £1, whether it's a penny, whether it's 500 quid. You can have the album for whatever it is you want to pay. And he's, instead of selling 2 or 3 albums, we're talking about folk gigs really, so they're not big people. 2 or 3 albums. The first time he did this, he sold about 18, and many people gave him 20 quid. Right?
Really?
Because he put no limit on it. Nobody paid less than a £5, right? And many people paid 20 quid because they wanted to encourage it. So he made loads more money by essentially telling people they could have it for next to nothing. I thought that was a very interesting psychological move. And so I think the same thing should happen with your gigs, Tone. You pay whatever you want to come in, 5 quid. Or 1,000.
No, it wouldn't work, and I tell you why it wouldn't work.
I'm
because
only kidding,
I know you're only kidding, but this really irritates me that people think that a ticket to a gig is worthless. But how many times have people said, "Have you got any free tickets? Have you got any free tickets?" Like Martha.
Oh, speak up, Martha.
Who's coming across the drive? Anyway,
it's an international star, Martha, now.
No, but you know what it's like? People think that tickets are worthless. Have we got any free tickets? Well, why would you not pay? You love this artist. You want to enjoy the music. Why is everybody trying to get a free ticket? It must be worse for you two guys.
Well, I always say, to be honest, promoters and stuff, I'm happy to pay for the ticket. I just want good tickets. I like good tickets. So happy to pay premium price and everything because, and you, Jim, you know how much it costs to put on concerts and everything else. And,
a lot of money. Yeah.
Even if it's 40 quid a ticket, you've got VAT to come off of that. You've got venue costs. It's when you get down the line, the artist some of the time is not actually making that much money out of even live gigs. It's better now than it used to be, but I'm kind of with you. I think artists have a value, and that's my biggest beef with things like YouTube and Spotify, is that get people to pay a little bit more, give artists a bit more, or have some sort of slush fund, the divvy fund or something. Especially for young artists, as we've spoken before, record companies are screwing them to the ground there with 360 deals and stuff, and it's just not fair.
No,
I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, you pass it over here. I'll have a go on it.
Stars, Cars, Guitars. Subscribe. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and starscarsguitars.co.uk.
Well, after this last episode we did last week, I popped down to Jim's and we had a cup of coffee, and he said he had no vinyl. He said he wouldn't show his vinyl last week, so I nicked one from his house. So, credible artist Jim Cregan.
You liar.
Here it is. This is a nice bit of vinyl, actually. Jim, I don't know what you're worried about. It's a nice bit of vinyl. There's the vinyl, and here's the album. Tony Blackburn's Pops for Tiny Tots with Tony Blackburn. That was in Jim Cregan's living room next to his stereo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll take you on a tour of my living room in a minute. There is no stereo. This is the stereo's here, and it's that's the only one I've got.
It's got on John Pertwee, the Ugly Duckling, Wally Whiten. There's a name for the past the runaway train.
Wally Whiten.
And it's got the Wombledon Wanderers doing the Wombling song. It isn't even the proper Wombles on here. June Whitfield doing Puff the Magic Dragon. You're an old softie.
June Whitfield's lovely. She bless her.
Are you going to post it back to me, or have I got to come and get it?
No, I'll bring it back next time, Jim.
You know what though? If you played that album, there are so many like people like June Whitfield, bless her, Willie White and stuff like that. And they're all people from your childhood. You would have so many memories. Yeah. John Pertwee was Doctor Who.
Yeah,
and another one who I love is Bernard Cribbins. Bernard. I met Bernard. He's top fella, really lovely man.
I said to Bernard Cribbins, I interviewed him a couple of years ago. It was his 90th birthday, and he was doing something. And I said, I want you to re-record Right Said Fred with the group.
Brilliant.
Right Said
Right
Fred.
Said Fred.
Why would that would have to be a hit? Right Said Fred doing Right Said Fred with Bernard Cribbins. He thought it was a good idea, but he probably forgot about it as soon as he left the room.
No, he was like...
He's 90. I mean, you know. So, but no, Bernard Cribbins, I met, and it was just, he's like a childhood hero. It's just like, wow, it's Bernard Cribbins. And do you remember he was in the Doctor Who film when the Daleks Invasion Earth, whatever it was, and that was really scary. And he was in that film. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
He was the best. Here in the UK, for those watching outside of the UK, when Tone and I were kids and Jim was in his early 30s, they had this... They had this storytelling program on the BBC where a well-known celebrity would read you a story. It was called Jackanory. And Bernard Cribbins did it more than anyone else because he had such a lovely storytelling voice.
Yeah, he was amazing. He really, really was. Yeah, it's.
Did you read to your children when they were little? Did anybody, speaking of storytelling?
Yeah,
because my daughter and I spoke about that today. And she still reads to me, but I do fall asleep early.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought that when the kids as toddlers had been bathed and they were in their little onesies or whatever they were in, or their pajamas, and they smelt all soapy, and you got that 20-minute cuddle before they went to bed, and then you took them to bed and read them the story. They, to me, are the greatest times in my life. And the one thing that hit me like a bullet out of the blue, and I don't know why I never thought of it. My daughter was born in 91. My oldest son was born in 98. And then Leo, my youngest, was born in 2000. And when Leo got too old to cuddle, I found it very, very hard to take. I bought a dog because I didn't realize I would run out of my own children to cuddle, because that, to me, half 7, 8 o'clock in the week, cuddling those kids before they went to bed. That's why going on tour would have finished me off, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
That's a very, very good point.
Yeah,
very good point.
I mean,
very
cuddle time is important, really important. I've always read to my kids. And even now with my 9-year-old and 14-year-old, it's like, come on, it's cuddle up time, kids, and we'll cuddle up on the sofa and watch a little bit of something on the TV. And my 9-year-old especially, she got, like you say, she got little Jimmy Jams on, and she's lovely. And it's just, they're special, special moments. They really, really are. I do treasure them. And of course, they're growing up at the rate of knots. And I'm like thinking, in another 2 or 3 years, they're not going to want to cuddle their dad, But in truth, I tell you, years and years ago, I always give my dad a kiss. Bless him, he's been gone a long time now, but I always gave my dad a kiss in public as well. And I remember one of my mates turned around to me. He said, I went, "Oh, hi, Dad." All right, give him a hug and a kiss. And one of my mates turned around and he said, "You kiss your dad?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "If you can't kiss your dad, you can't kiss anyone. He's my dad. He's the bloke. He's the main man, And it's amazing how a lot of blokes can't show affection in that respect to their to the fathers and stuff, and even sometimes to the mothers. There's not that kind of loving household thing. But I've been fortunate that I've always had it and share that with my kids as well,
I think it gets passed down, don't you? I think, if their family was affectionate, then they're used to being affectionate as well. My family was very affectionate. But speaking about your dad, I used to kiss him too, He was very nice. He smelled nice, didn't he?
Yeah. he always had a bit of Old Spice on, my dad, or a bit of black label.
They got
black label.
Me.
Yeah.
I thought you used Brute. I thought Brute was the one you used.
Oh, Brute. Brute's back in. I like the smell of Brute. Yeah, it's back.
Hey, what about Matt, the manager? If you're listening, I'm going to pitch you an idea. Dr. Hadley, Tony in the doctor's uniform, in a Brute commercial on TV. That would be amazing.
I'd buy two.
So, Jim, I want to ask you this. We have touched on this before, but I did my absolute best, and I was kind of fortunate where I was doing a mid-morning radio show at the time, so I could get up, I could take my kids to school, I could do the shift through the mid-morning. I could then pick them up. I did just about every sports day, and I'm not, this sounds like I'm showing off, I'm not, every special assembly, because I thought you were never, ever going to get those times back. I doubt Tony could do that in the heady days of having hits and must have regrets. And Jim, you with so many children from so many relationships around the world, it must have been really tricky for you.
Yeah,
Jim?
right. I describe it as watching my children grow up by postcard. I hated that part of it because I was, I'm still very close with my American children. I speak to them every couple of days. In fact, my elder daughter called yesterday and harangued me about how long it's going to be before I can get over there, which, of course, I absolutely want to go. Those long tours, man, there's a price, all that stuff about being the fun of being a rock musician, which, of course, it is great fun, but there is a price. There's definitely a price. And one of them is the relationships at home. The missing your children, that's missing exactly what you say, the sports day. My son scoring the winning points at the end of the big basketball game between his school and the huge rivals. And in the last, as the buzzer went, he threw the ball left-handed and it scored. And I mean, the place went berserk. And I watched it on somebody's home video. I wasn't there, that kind of stuff. It's painful, it's difficult.
Does that still, before I ask Tone more or less the same question, does that still haunt you occasionally now, that because you will never get those times back? Is that still quite tough to live with?
No, I wouldn't say it's tough to live with, but that the relationship with his mum, that's gone. I mean, maybe if I'd been around all the time, she wouldn't have been, should we say, having maybe an eye for somebody else. I don't know. I don't know how that, these are the things, these are the unknown questions, the unknown answers, rather. Questions are quite easy. There's a price. There's definitely a price. But I mean, I think that's true of many jobs. My nephew, who's joined the Royal Navy, has just gone off and he's going to be gone for a couple of months. Will that affect his relationship with his girlfriend? I don't know. I mean, maybe. It depends. Everybody has certain things that they have to do. You've got a beautiful, beautiful woman as your partner. The one thing you cannot possibly do is show any sign of jealousy, even if you might be feeling it. You have to assume that she's with you because she wants to be with you. And everybody else who's coming on to. I mean, I had some guy, I was kind of this unbelievably beautiful Argentinian woman who I lived with for 3 or 4 years. And we went to the ballet, and we were all dressed up and everything. Went to the ballet in LA, and we're in the foyer. It was an intermission or before it began. I can't remember. This very handsome guy, maybe a bit younger than me, in a beautiful suit, walked over and walked straight over to my girlfriend and put his business card in her hand and said, "Call me." And I looked at him and I went, "What? You think she wants to be with you? Are you kidding?" Sort of. And but the fact that you've got to deal with all this stuff, you have to be very comfortable in your own skin if you're going to date a beautiful woman. I discovered that, and that's a reality for those guys who look at beautiful women and think, "I'd like to go out with her." Okay, be prepared for what comes with that as well. Other guys will be hitting on her everywhere you go. That's
why Dr. Hook wrote "When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman." That's why they wrote that song, because of you, Jim, and that Argentinian. Tone, what anything you and I know this could be a little bit painful for all of us because I wasn't there 100% of the time, but what about you?
Listen, being married to anybody who's in the music business, the acting world, the arts, as I've probably said millions of times before, we are to a large degree quite selfish people. We had this dream as kids and to be musicians and performers and artists and stuff. And that takes you on a different journey to most other people who have, generally speaking, good jobs, but they do ordinary jobs. They look forward to their retirement and everything. I don't ever want to retire. So, but the consequence of that, as Jim said, and as you just said, Alex, is that, you miss out on so much. When you're away on tour for 3.5 months, you've missed so much of your kids' lives. But I don't have any regrets. And my daughter, in an interview, Tony, my oldest daughter, said, she was asked, did you see a lot of your dad? She said, well, no, he was always away. And how do you feel about that? She went, well, that was his job. And it's the same, if you're in the armed forces. Well, I mean, the difference is someone's trying to shoot you generally if you're in the armed forces. But, it's different being in a pop band. But no, it is. I mean, I do remember that my brother-in-law from my first marriage, he was halfway across to the Falklands War, over halfway across, when all of a sudden it was right, we are definitely going to war. He got a flipping Dear John letter. Whoa.
Oh,
no. Yeah. That's Putin. That was a tough one. So I think it's incredibly difficult, for the ladies back home, wives, girlfriends, and everything, and the children. But it's the path you choose. It's your life. You look at all the great artists. If you want to succeed, and that's why I say we're quite selfish, actually, in a lot of ways. Because we it's tough. But it's my job. It was my job. It's still my job, and I love what I do.
I would imagine there would have been times when you'd have been away for 3.5 months and you're absolutely shattered, and the new singles come out and suddenly there's the call. I know you were going to be home with the family tomorrow, but now you've got to go and do Top of the Pops. And you're thinking, oh, come on. I love Top of the Pops or whatever it is, or American Bandstand, whatever it is. Now I've got to get on a plane and do that.
Yeah, it's I've had that happen, and Jim has, and all of a sudden, you're home, and you're home for literally. You unpack your bag, repack it, and you're off again. That is really, really, really tough. What we do now with the Fab TH band, because a lot of us have all got young children, we tend to no longer than about 4 to 6 weeks. If at all, we maybe 3 or 4 weeks, because with young, I suppose we've learned a lesson from the past that we don't want to be away for too long.
Yeah, good idea. I remember we were on an enormous world tour. We got 6 weeks off, and I got an offer from my old friend Mike Batt to go across the Atlantic with him on his yacht, right? Which was very exciting. I mean, I'm quite a boaty kind of person. I sail. I can sail boats and stuff, So we went from the Canaries to Antigua in the Caribbean. And we were supposed to have 6 weeks off, and we just arrived, and I was just looking forward to. I was there with Linda Lewis, my wife at the time, and we were really happy on this boat, and we were in this beautiful, beautiful place, English Harbour in Antigua, and we were there for 3 days, and then I get a call from the office saying, we're on the American Music Awards, right? Which is the song we had out was called Passion. And I was a co-writer on that, so it was well worth my time to get on the plane. And so my holiday was instead of the 6 weeks, I didn't get the 6 weeks. I got maybe 3, and I've been waiting, months and months and months to get this holiday, because we'd been on the road for so long, and then suddenly those kind of. It's a disappointment on one hand, but then you're also doing the American Music Awards. You're going to sell a bunch of records, and you're going to put a lot of money in your pocket. So I mean, it's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to get on with it. You can't moan about it.
The one thing this whole lockdown has taught me, though, is that I can actually take more time off than I think. I mean, I've already moved my holidays, already shifted. I've got a gig on the first day, so my wife and kids will go off. I've got a gig the first, the second. I won't get there till the third day, and then come home early as well. And and she was very understanding, because we haven't had any gigs, and a whole set of gigs come in, and I said, "Love, And but it's always difficult when you have to say, "Darling, I've got something to tell you." American Bandstand or something's coming, and that's and it's difficult for your partners, very, very difficult. Yeah,
I think the easy answer is don't make any plans. Make it up as you go along. Okay, we've got a week off for you. That's all.
That's
the
only
problem with that is kids in school. That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
That's where it gets harder. it is a big juggling act, but then, that's part of what you do.
Stars, Cars, Guitars. Subscribe. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and starscarsguitars.co.uk.
Stars, Cars, Guitars, wherever you get your podcasts from. If you're out jogging, then we are your jogging companion. Or maybe you're watching us on YouTube. If you are watching us on YouTube, honestly, we read the comments. We love your comments. We are really fascinated with the interaction we're getting, and we're grateful as well. So please click like, subscribe, tell your friends, spread the word on Facebook, whatever. Right. Bette Davis. Bette Davis. This is one for you, Tom.
Aye. Well, Bette Davis. I've told you the Neil Sedaka. Yes, I am Neil Sedaka at the Dorothy stuff. Well, another lift experience. Oh, I've got a couple, actually. Did I tell you about the New York one?
You spent a lot of time in lifts.
Well, yeah, you're up in hotels.
Did you have that job when they have in New York, the little hat, and the thing? Which film, madam? Was that you?
Boy. I was a bellboy, but Bette Davis. I was in Paris, and it was the whatever Cinq hotel it was. I can't remember, Georges Cinq or whatever it was, and literally got in the lift just as I did with Neil Sedaka, and there was Bette Davis, and she was just at the back of the lift, one of those lovely, beautiful Parisian lifts, and she was a very, very small woman, but I knew it was Bette Davis, and she was quite old at the time. And when you really, really want to sort of go, hi, Bette Davis, but I don't know. I thought no, and I don't know. I backed off, kind of thing. I thought, do you know who I am? No, I didn't do that. But she was, and I just did nod. I said, oh, hello, how are you? And she said, oh yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. And she was very sweet, but I didn't do the big, so pleased to meet you.
I can see why she was pretty scary, from what I hear. And apparently she did not like Kim Carnes' Bette Davis Eyes. She was not a fan of that song.
Oh, really? Oh, I love that.
That was a great song.
Yeah, did I tell you the story about the New York lift when I was 21 in New York? Did I tell you about this story? Oh, right, okay. So there we are in New York, 21, and we're all in the lobby, all the Spandau Boys and stuff, and all the entourage, and we're waiting to go out. And I went, oh, as usual, I've forgotten something. I've left something in my room. So I got in the room, and this lovely woman got in on whatever floor it was and said, oh, hi, honey. I said, oh, hello, how are you? Very, very British, I said, oh, would you like some company? I said, no. I said, I'm good, thanks. My mates are waiting for me downstairs. So, honey, you sure you don't want some company? I said, no. I said, honestly, we're going out and I've got enough company. It was all my mates downstairs. And she looked at me and said, okay, honey, like that. And anyway, I went, oh, see you, have a nice night. And I'm so stupid sometimes. Got out the lift, doors closed, and I went, oh, that kind of company. Oh, that kind of company. But I was 21. I didn't know. I was wet behind the ears. But she was very lovely. Very, very lovely. Yeah. But there you go. So I didn't take up the offer of her company, and I went out with the Spandau Boys and got lost in New York. There you go.
You were young.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, another one done and dealt with. Should we do this again same time next week?
Look after yourself. Thanks you very much. See you later, guys. Bye.
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 Stars, Cars, Guitars was produced by Tom Stroud.